Hello, everyone, and God bless you. Here we are, another day with this project guitar I bought on Craigslist for $45. Turns out it's a Fender Gemini 1. It's lacking a proper label, but under much investigation and research and comparing with other labels and pictures, I'm positive that it's a Fender Gemini 1 acoustic guitar with a compensated saddle. It's in beautiful shape other than horrible tuning machines, raised frets throughout, but I'm going to remove the polyurethane varnish and teach myself how to French polish. I was trying to remove, or I'm not sure what to do with the saddle yet. I mean with the bridge, because I wanted to remove it and varnish it entirely. But I really struggled with those heating pads. So I think I'm just going to leave it on there and varnish the whole thing. But I have another problem. The distance from the face of the nut, where the strings break, to the left side of my 12th fret, I got my notes here, let me get back, is exactly 12 and 3/4 at the E string. I went ahead and measured the same distance, but now at E4 to the same side of the 12th fret, and it was happy to see that it's exactly 12 and 3/4. So now, for my guitar to be able to be tuned properly and sound as best as it can, I've learned that the tonal length, or the distance from here to here, the 12 and 3/4, has to be doubled. So I went ahead and measured from the face of here, the break point of the saddle, to the same point I measured prior, and I measured 12 and 7/8, which means that I'm too far back that way 1/8. I went ahead and did the same measurement. Now I do realize, and as I mentioned, this is a compensated saddle, so I'm gonna be, or I should be, that way. So I shouldn't measure 12 and 3/4. If this was done properly, I shouldn't be 12 and 3/4. I should be less than 12 and 3/4. Whatever, 12 and 11/16, possibly, if I'm getting my measurements right. Anyway, upon measuring from here to the same point, and I know I'm not going to be parallel, I was actually 12 and 13/16, which means that I'm a 16th too far back from even being parallel. So then I would need to move that 16th this way just to be parallel, plus another eighth, let's say, or millimeter. I'm not sure how much anything needs to be compensated, but I do know that it needs to move that way, or to be askew, to be called a compensated saddle. So I hope I didn't confuse you with all my measurements. I did my best to write them down, but let me explain it as best as I can. So in other words, that 12 and 3/4 distance has to be the same from here to this face of the saddle. In the case where a guitar didn't have a compensated saddle, that it was perfectly parallel, then I should measure 12 and 3/4 from this side of the fret to this face at E2, and then when I measure at the E4 position, I should also be 12 and 3/4 from this side of the fret to this face of the saddle. But I don't. I'm too far back 1/8 here, and I'm too far back 1/16 here I'm actually, if we want to say as far as compensated goes, I'm way off here because this saddle, instead of being parallel, needs to be compensated that way. So what do I do now? I'm really struggling to remove this bridge. Is there a way to, I don't know, to fill this slot with wood and, in a very finished carpentry kind of way where it wouldn't be noticed or hardly noticed? Glue it in, let it set, trim the edges off, and then with a router, I've seen it done. I've seen luthiers on YouTube cut the slots on brand new saddles while the bridge is actually set. And they explained that the purpose of that was to get what I'm talking about, the tonal length precise. Because if you build or you put your slot in your saddle when the bridge is in your hands, then you go to set it and you screw up, well, then the whole thing is wrong. Correct me wherever I'm wrong here, people. Like I said, I'm not a luthier, not trying to be one. In fact, what I want to eventually learn is to be a guitar builder. And I say guitar builder because a luthier should be able to build anything strung, whether it's plucked or attacked with a bow. So if you're a luthier, you should be able to build lutes, cellos, violas, violins, and guitars. Otherwise, in my opinion, you're just a guitar builder. And where do I get this? From the Granada School of Guitar Building. Granada, Spain is the motherland of all guitars. Antonio Torres, a Spanish man, is credited worldwide, whether we accept it or not, as being the gentleman who brought the modern day guitar as we know it. There were other examples of strung instruments that are called guitars, but with this design and these basic dimensions pretty much haven't changed since the 1800s when Antonio de Torres introduced his first guitar. And it pretty much looked visually like this, not those weird looking things with short bodies or weird looking, I don't even know what they're called. But when we refer to a guitar that looks like this, the man who built it and introduced the first one to the world, as far as recorded history knows, was a Spanish man named Antonio de Torres. And he didn't call himself a luthier either. His label said guitarrero. So anyway, I hope it does cause controversy because I want to hear opinions of the so-called experts. Like I said, I'm just an ignorant man trying to learn. Appreciate all your comments, good or bad. God bless you.